Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Does this mean we can move on to the Q&A session, Aldrin? Are you
Let's
ready?
do it. I'm ready.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to bring you back on to the spotlight. There we go. I see you now. Very good, very good. I have to give a quick ski-fi shout out to you, okay?
Yes.
The brotherhood, the sisterhood, being able to take collective actions where people have the similar intention. You're there to strengthen your community. It's not about your individual needs, your individual goals, but doing it in a cohesive manner where you share similar values, you share a love for similar communities, similar structures, and getting to work, committing behind it, not just for a day, but committing to it for a long term. A lot of the organizations that Aldrin and Ariel have mentioned are all about that. It's not just showing up in a space one time. It's being committed to efforts that are for the collective good. So let's start the Q&A session on that wavelength. I see a couple of things tying the previous panel's comments and this panel's comments. I'm going to quote Dr. Nicolas, united in legacy. This is what brings us all here to the table. I mean, it's printed on our flag, l'union fait la force. We have a lot of work still to do as a community to live up to that standard. It's totally possible. Our diaspora communities around the world have strength, have power, are in key positions to be able to do something. And it's about taking intentional actions so that our community, our people, can benefit from it as a whole, and doing that work in a structured manner. So let's go straight into the Q&A. Again, I'm going to welcome questions from the audience. Please raise your hand or type your comments in the chat, and everyone is free to speak the language in which they are most comfortable. Nous parlons français, nous parlons créole, nous parlons anglais. We want everyone to be comfortable to express their thoughts, to express their intentions in a cohesive way. Okay, so that being said, Ariel, you are the first one up, my dear. You spoke about HLN, you spoke about HAFTI. ADC is another powerful thing that's in the works, a structured entity. So, as we're looking at the flow of migration that's consistently happening for decades within our communities, as our communities are gaining strength worldwide, and we still need to support each other because that migration pattern takes a toll on your mental health, and we can't neglect that. So looking at the force of our communities overseas around the world and the effective attachments that we still have to Haiti, what can you share with us in terms of your thoughts on how Haiti could better leverage the communities outside of Haiti to the benefit of Haiti, to get us towards that soleil levé scenario, of course?
That's a difficult question. I think that, the low-hanging fruits, right, is that Haiti has been slowly but surely engaging its diaspora. It's not like there isn't any connection, like we have said. However, I think that more than ever today, and I'm talking about in an organic way, that we can leverage the diaspora because we could do so virtually. People don't have to come to Haiti to be able to collaborate, work. I know, for example, in both the organization that I'm involved in, very often we employ people or we collaborate with people that are not in the United States. And this is something that we would not think about, let's say, in 2018, that, to employ people or work with people on distance. I don't know how to say that in a lean language now, but so there's that aspect. Universities, Haitian diaspora scholars could work with universities, give courses or share or do master classes from a distance. So I think that there is this option. And now that we have these types of virtual spaces, there is more opportunities to co-create, to think about these things together. So there is that. But, at the end of the day, really, in order to integrate the diaspora, that you need to have strong institutions, because this is usually the entities that, nationally do diaspora integration policies that give incentives to the diaspora and for them to either come back or work or channel these aspirations, intentions, willingness from a growing in power diaspora. So Aldrin can speak to these things. And specifically, we have models like Rwanda. We have absolutely models like Israel, who's a champion in that. So I think that I'll let Aldrin speak to the specifics, but all of that to say that, yes, there are many ways that we have been connecting. Yes, there are many ways that we can continue to connect. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a strong state, it's very difficult to do things in a structured manner where you have public policy of integration of the diaspora. That's what I'll say about that. And I'll let Aldrin give the specifics in terms of Israel, for example, how they do.
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. Before passing it on to Aldrin, are you guys checking the chat? Because there's a question that's very much so aligned with what Ariel has opened the door for Aldrin to speak to. So I wanted to highlight that as well. It's from Francois Payan, who's in North Carolina, so that you can answer his question as well, because it's very much so related and connected. I'll read it.
Can you read it? Yes, please.
I can read it out loud. So the question from Francois is our approach to diaspora initiatives inspired by the Jewish diaspora strategy of avoiding alignment with just one political party, be it the Democrats or Republicans? It appears they have successfully navigated both sides.
This is true. Do you want me to answer?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I work for an organization called APAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. And it's actually been transformative for me in the sense of I come from an economics background, business background, have been a professional in that space for 18 years. And then this opportunity to work for the organization presented itself about 6.5 years ago. And what it did was it gave me the opportunity to learn the importance of politics and what it means to have a strategy, stay on course with that strategy, and get the desired outcome, no matter who is at the political helm. So whether it be a Democrat or Republican who is the president, that is irrelevant to the mission at hand. The mission is to create a stronger relationship between the United States and Israel. So when I look at my Jewish counterparts and the resilience that they show, I see it very similar to that of the Haitian people, right? Those who have successfully fought for their freedom and made sure that they received land and things of that nature. However, the difference is the bad actors that are involved when it comes to Haiti versus when it comes to Israel. Israel has positioned itself to be I want to say a world leader. And it came by way of a number of roads that led to this. But I strongly believe that Haiti has a similar fighting spirit of making sure that we get our narrative out there so that we are the tellers of our truth and not letting other entities corrupt that viewpoint, if you will. What I see in politics is the diminishing relevant history. And it seems to be the diminishing of the history of people of color, where there's this thing of, okay, let's not make the colonizers feel uneasy by exposing them. However, those same conversations would not hold true when dealing with Israel, right? But those people make sure that they fight for what they believe in. They are not in a position to be marginalized. And once again, it is irrelevant who is in power, whether it is a Democrat or a Republican. They have to make sure that their truth is told. But the other part of that is, they are willing to contribute to political campaigns in a way that some of us may not want to or may not have the financial means to do so. And if it's the latter, that you don't have the financial means, there's still ways to be involved in that game of politics and still making sure that your voice and concerns are being heard, whether that is working on a campaign, knocking on doors, issuing out, flyers, what have you, but working in concert with that elected official on both sides to make sure that what is important for you is out there and that they are actively working to make sure that the higher ups hear that and are moved to make something happen.
Okay, lots of gems there. Thank you, Aldrin. I love how you brought in the importance of culture and history and how it's intentionally being done against us. Nous pas qu'à quitter ça arriver, nous. In particular for our Haitian culture, because ça c'est richesse, nous. That's our contribution to the world. And systematically over decades, if not centuries, we've allowed people to erase our history. I think about growing up in Louisiana, in New Orleans, and that little paragraph that Haiti gets within Louisiana history. It's like, are you serious? And that has to change, and they're not going to change it for us. So as you correctly stated, we can't be scared to speak up nor back our intentions with contributions, with financial contributions, being active civically and politically to protect ourselves and to make sure that we control our narrative and that we better work through the systems to ensure that our needs are met, because nous méritons, and it's our right, but it's also our responsibility. So thank you so much for that, those best practices, those insights, those experiences that our community has to take action on. So thank you so much for that. I see we have a question for Ariel. I'm going to read it out loud. Question pour Madame Dominique. Félicitations pour belle présentation, ça. How do we stop the culture of wasteful duplication and incentivize actors to work in a more synergetic way?
That's a big question, because I think that when people think of Haiti and its diaspora, one of the things that they say, whether, we say it as a community, but also others say about us, may it be the State Department or others, they say the Republic of NGOs. So 1,000 efforts. I think Gilda alluded to the fact of the 1,000 plans that we could put in a museum. So a lot of people working in silo, a lot of plans, a lot of organizations, a lot of efforts, not enough continuity, synergy, collaboration, speaking of one voice. So that's one of the things that is sort of seen as a characteristic. Now, what I have to say about that in general is that it is healthy for a community to have many organizations that are engaged in different sectors. It is healthy for a community to have different organization, different efforts, a lot of people engaged. So I don't want to, it's not, the goal is not to have one organization in the diaspora or to have, just one effort or one big coordination in Haiti. I think the effort, I said coordination, but the goal is to be better coordinated. I think in the diaspora, that is naturally where we're moving towards, because we live in a system that, helps that, in a culture, to use the word, because that's exactly that. It's a culture of collaboration, coordination. So we are in it. So it's easier for us to do it there. And again, in Haiti, and I'm repeating myself, but I think that in Haiti, the only entity that can do that is the states. And I think by its mission, right, that it is, I think it's the Ministère de la Planification, or you had CFE at a certain moment. I think that if these entities and institutions are strengthened, and again, it always goes back to the governance issue, unfortunately, but that's what it is, because it's a difficult, it's a warm wall. So it's a difficult thing to fix, but that's we're going to have to put our efforts in building those institutions. So when there is 10,000 organizations that want to be engaged in Haiti and who do want to do mission trips and all of that, there is an entity of coordination. I am not saying that there cannot be private entities to do that, but normally this is something that the state does. And again, Aldrin, maybe you could speak to how the state of Israel channels this diaspora energy. What are the different efforts that they do in order to integrate their diaspora in Israel, whether it's to connect the young people that are living outside of Israel, to connect them and to keep them connected to the country, whether it's how do they do this so the diaspora can invest and can partake. So, we have models around the world that do just that. But at the end, and I'd love Aldrin to give some of the examples, but at the end of the day, it's about institution building. And it's not the same obviously for the United States, because we live in the context that permits that. So, and I think we are doing it. I think IT Diaspora Collaborative is one such effort. At least we're thinking of ways to coordinate the voices of the many organizations and many people that are engaged in building this community here. Again, a healthy thing. So I'll let Aldrin.
So I think the important aspect here is making sure that the young people know the history of their people that they descend from, and the importance of Israel, right? So the critical thing that I see Jewish people doing is sending their kids on what's called a birthright mission. And this gives, teenagers the opportunity to visit Israel, as long as they can claim that they at least have one grandparent who is Jewish. They are afforded the opportunity to visit Israel for a certain amount of time. I believe it's for about a month, and to explore the richness of Israel, the cultural, the religious aspect of it. And what that does is there's a certain level of connectivity, right? There's one thing to hear about Israel or any country, right? Let's say Haiti, for years, grow up in a Jewish household, and hear about Israel in various platforms of media. But then when you actually go there, and you dip your toe into the Mediterranean Sea, or you go to the Sea of Galilee, or float in the Dead Sea, or whatever that experience is, you begin to tell a different story. You begin to have a certain level of connectivity that you didn't have prior to going on that. And you're also going with other teens roughly around the same age on that same mission. So you're learning together. There's a shared experience. How do we now replicate that for Haiti, right? Growing up, there was so many of my friends who were of Haitian descent that never went to Haiti for, a number of reasons. What if there was a program that, a Haitian teen would be afforded the opportunity to go to Haiti for a month, to visit, the different locales, eat the different foods, learn Creole, learn the different nuances of Haiti? They would come back more enriched. They would come back wanting to do more for Haiti, and also spreading the story of the beauty and the value that Haiti has, not only in America, but globally, right? The influence that our culture has had on the global community is absolutely amazing, but so many of us just don't know those stories. So if there is a way that we can pool our resources, right? And the first one doesn't have to be over the top, because these are learning opportunities, right? There are going to be certain things that we do well. There are going to be certain things that we don't. But I think the end product is making sure that every kid of Haitian descent has the opportunity to touch Haitian soil.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Aldrin. You wanted to add something, Oyen?
Add to that. So again, I think that Israel is probably the most important example in terms of diaspora integration and connection. And I spoke about institution building, and I spoke about Ministère de la Planification, MAV, CFE, all these entities that are supposed to be the channel for the diaspora to integrate them in country. But I think one of the things that I didn't say is about public policy. What are the incentives what are the laws that we could put in place to make sure that the diaspora is incentivized to invest, to come back, and to be integrated further in the country. So, for example, I know that Rwanda, they are, if you go there, that you can buy a land or they'll give you, there are, specifics. But again, this is something that the state has to do. So I think that all in all, for us, when thinking about Haiti and when thinking about this great vision we have for Haiti, there is no going around institution building, getting governance right, because there is so much the private sector or efforts, private efforts can do. We're going to have to build our institution and get this governance aspect right. So that's the bottom line, frankly.
I completely agree with you, Ariel, in the sense of building the institution. I was a public servant before moving to Haiti. I've been out here working 12 years, and public service out here is completely different. And it's because of the weakness of the leadership, of the institutions, of the people that are working in the institution. And in our research, meaning Replenish 509, when we looked at different models and trying to understand how these different models for diaspora integration came into existence. And actually, it didn't start with the public sector. And what we're noticing in Haiti, I think perhaps because, me in particular, I came to Haiti with the American mindset of it can only go through public institutions. Well, in Haiti, it's completely different. It needs to go through public institutions, but it doesn't have to start off 100% within the public institution. And when we looked at different models, I can't remember if it was Israel or if it was Rwanda, but the entity that started these trips that welcomed their diaspora back to the home country, it actually started as a private entity. And as it got traction, then the government came in and they formally created a public-private partnership. So, in the Haitian context, when you look at the public institutions, we have no public institutions. They do not, they function at maybe 5% at best. So to expect an entity to be able to spearhead something like that, it's not really rational. It's not logical. It's not going to happen. So what we're exploring is, okay, how do we jumpstart something, get traction behind it, get the proper funding behind it, and then eventually grow into a public-private partnership? Because the government has to support this type of initiative. It should be run by the government, but we've seen over the past few years how the Ministry of Haitians Living Abroad, for example, got completely politicized, like many other government ministries, and it's not really serving its purpose. And this is why, going back to the first panel's efforts, that new vision, that Soleil Levé vision is key. That national socioeconomic development plan is key because it has to be a national effort. And in the process, we must absolutely strengthen the public institutions. And it has to be webbed in because this sort of effort isn't necessarily profitable. It will always be dependent on donations of different types of funding. So for the sustainability of the effort, absolutely. So we should be open-minded to different structures for setting this up.
In response to that, again, Aldrin, we'll have to look into the Aliyah program to see if it started privately because the state of Israel did not exist when Aliyah started. So
Absolutely.
because it's private, because there was a state of Israel and then private sector did this. So we have to look into what, because this is a new state as well. And
Absolutely.
all people came from kibbutzim. So, we have to look into how it started. And obviously, absolutely often in public policy across the board, the efforts start with private sector or people and nonprofit or whatnot, and then the states incorporate in its public policy to institutionalize these efforts or to coordinate to make sure that it's done not in silo, not 10,000 Aliyah type programs in Haiti, but also supported by the state. My point in all of that is that I'm not saying that a private sector efforts or nonprofit efforts are not needed. My point is, in order to make it structured, effective, supported, coordinated, you have to have a state that creates or that reinforces a culture, and you have to have also a state that makes sure that whatever effort is undertaken is effective.
And the thing is,
Without the other, obviously. That's the point.
And I was going to say, the thing is that the government also has to genuinely want this, right? If the Haitian government does not want it, it's not going to happen, right? They will find ways to put, to have it go off rails. This is something that the Israeli government wanted. And even when they didn't have a government, things still function. Whereas in Haiti, if there is no government, it's just total chaos, right? So how do we make sure that the people who are elected to these positions have Haiti's genuine interest at heart, that they are open to outside thoughts, that they've had some lived experience, right? For me, I would love to see those who are in leadership have a broader and more global viewpoint than just Haiti is all they know, right? Because I think that there's so much that we can learn just by having that global vision, but at the same time, they have to be accepting of receiving it. But it also has to be done in a respectful way of not the diaspora thinking that they know it all. I think one of the issues that we face, those that grew up abroad, is that they think we think that we have all the answers for Haiti. I think Haiti should do this, this, and this, without the input of those that are actually on the ground that live it day to day. So where I may see certain things that I would like to do differently, like, no, this is Haitian culture. You take that out, you rip away the fabric of the people of the nation. So it has to be done in concert with one another.
Thank you so much. I'm looking at the time. It is 10:27 and everyone is booked until 10:30. It's Saturday and I know we rallied everyone up Saturday morning, despite your desires to remain in bed. So I want to thank everyone for being with us early this morning. This is the best time to have these types of brainstormings. Thank you, Ariel. And Dr. Nicola in particular. We had a few questions and comments in the chat. We've answered quite a few of them via the chat. There is one, though, before we close up, I do want to speak out loud, and it's from Charles Constantin. He says, given the overall need for resources in Haiti, is the issue that investment, in parentheses, which seeks some return, close parentheses, will never be profitable enough for those who are looking to invest? Are we Haitians willing to invest without an expectation to see any return in the short term, parentheses 10 years, in order to develop the infrastructure base necessary to ensure both survival and future prosperity? Can we redefine what contribution means for Haiti? I think what Charles just did, and thank you, Charles, I see your camera's on. What that is brought to the surface is, our need to think outside of the box. Sometimes when we think, oh, I want to invest in Haiti, you're trying to make a quick turnaround in cash. We need to think beyond that. I think that you have some people with that mindset and some who don't. Haiti needs, I wouldn't say Haiti has a money problem. Haiti has a management problem, has a cash flow management problem, has a infrastructural problem, a systems problem. When you look at the high percentage of remittances that come to Haiti, and the percentage, over 25% of our national GDP comes from remittances. But how is that money absorbed into the economy? That's the problem. So it's a matter of taking conscious steps, conscious decisions for those sending the remittances and those receiving the remittances to make it in a way that our country can grow from it, as opposed to further strengthening the informal economy, but further strengthening the formal economy so that companies can grow, public institutions can grow, and more importantly, can hire people that intentionally want to promote the interests of the nation, of our people, of our culture. So Charles, thank you so much for bringing that up. Before we close out, I would open the floor for...
I'll just add to that again, that Haiti is a virgin country of 11 million people that you have to feed, that you have to clothe, there is a lot of investment opportunity. The problem is that somebody has said that it's a long game. And the problem is that in order to have investments that are secure, because the problem is that you don't know if you invest something, if it's going to be safe, if it's a safe investment, if you have the infrastructure that's going to protect it, the justice system that's going to protect it, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that all the investors that we've brought or that have gone to Haiti, including the Israelis, the problem is that they have not found the infrastructure and the safety for their investment. And again, I am sorry to say, that's where governance steps in, because you have to make sure that you have a governance that is ready to absorb any investment, that is ready to protect investments. So again, yes, Haiti is a land of opportunity, but we have to go step by step. And the first step is to make sure that once this investment comes in, that we're able to absorb it. It's not my expertise, but that's what I understand, generally speaking. So,
no, well said. And technology can help us accomplish those goals much faster than we think. So before we wrap up this panel, are there any last gems, last comments that either of you would like to make? Although, oh yeah, you just dropped some real gems, so you're good.
I let my friends end.
I would continue to echo, be involved in the political process, especially if you are living in America and do have the opportunity to vote. Make sure that you are vigilant in that process. That you connect with your elected officials, both from the state, local, and federal level. There's a saying over here that all politics is local, making sure that you have that politician's number on speed dial, because there is going to come a time where you're going to need to, quote unquote, lobby for Haiti. And no politician is going to want to hear from you if you don't have something to offer, if you haven't been around with them, pounding the pavement, making sure that their agenda is passed. They are not going to truly care. So make sure that you are involved in that political process.